Here's Kenny. Kenny's on the line. And he's Kenny's in. Sealing an historic New South Wales victory.
Inside ball, Hindmarsh. Up the middle comes Minicello. Minicello's into space. He's got support. The Blues are on their way. Goethe has scored. Farah, dummies, double pumps. Hodkinson is over. Hodkinson comes around. He puts the ball down. New South Wales have won it.
Hello everyone and welcome to Legendary Series, proudly brought to you by Macca's. We are with the brilliant Blues in this episode as we relive some great Origin Series winning moments. And what about the three hombres in the studio? The great Stephen Roach, 17 Origins.
An honour to be involved with the Blues, mate.
All right, Hindy, 17 Origins, same as the big man.
17, yes.
Nice.
It's exciting.
And Aaron Woods, 14 Origins, the baby of the crew.
Hey, what an honour to wear the
Boys,
blue, but
I've just got to break the news off the top. We're not here to talk about Origin tries that you've scored because the show's got to go longer than a minute. Blocker,
Duck egg.
Hindy.
Got one.
Woodsy.
Actually got one, yes.
And yours wasn't a try, Hindy. Do you want to go?
Well, no, it was watered as a try, so I was held up, but
Fibber.
I fibbed
I
it.
hope you celebrated like it was a try.
I sold it to the referee.
Yeah, that's good.
Great acting.
Yeah.
I got a 4 pointer. It's in the history books.
That's it.
My name's there.
That's all that counts.
Now, what about these boys in front of us? The collectible cups available through Macca's right now, celebrating series wins, celebrating 5 series wins, and there's the 2025 Cup as well that could be a series win. You can get these with your Big Mac, your chicken McNuggets, wipe that dribble off your chin blocker. You don't have them in studio. The fries, the drink, or you can buy them separately. Collect all 6, and when you get them, just scan the cup. You're in with a chance of winning a signed Blues jersey or a double pass to game number 3 of this year's series. So how good's that? The collectible cups.
I'll be going on the way home.
Get
Got
all
them all
6.
anyway. So
Got a couple already.
Exactly. All right, boys. Here's an incredible stat about Origin right off the top. 133 matches played in all those years since 1980. The two teams are now separated by just 12 points scored. I mean, that just blows your mind. New South Wales edged a little bit closer after game 1 this year. What did you make of the series opener, Block?
It's always hard the first game, but I thought New South Wales were great through the middle with their forwards. I can't remember a time we went out the back. Real dominant in the first half. I think they put the cue in the rack a little bit in the second half, but I think they'll be even better in Perth in game 2.
Yeah, I thought the forwards really laid the platform. I thought the Mitch Moses Cleary combination, everyone was kind of talking about how would that work. I thought that worked really, really well, and they'll dominate in game 2 as well, I reckon.
Yeah. Look, the fact you go up there to Brisbane, it's got to be more credit to it that you do it on Queensland's home first up.
I reckon twice in a row too, because we won a decider up there. But it's just the intensity at the start of the game. Like you watch New South Wales, they just straight through the front door. They get to the 50-metre line, easy kick. Defensively, New South Wales are outstanding. I still think there's a lot more improvement with the ball in hand. So.
Queensland won't be the same side though.
I know.
So I am wary.
Yes.
They know they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, Queensland. So.
Well, don't talk like that. I mean,
You know why they've been wary in the past? Because they've had great players. Different squad now.
Yeah, different now. We look pretty dominant, don't we?
Yeah.
the game is going to Perth, Hindy. Not that a ground should matter, but the fact is New South Wales have been dominant. Like some huge wins there.
Well, not even a win for Queensland over there. So I think the forward pack is the difference. Honestly, I think our forward pack, the New South Wales forward pack, is twice as strong, twice as fast, and that's where you lay the platform for your crafty men to do what they want to do. So I think it'll continue in game 2.
And you think about Queensland, I'll have a bee in their bonnet 100%, New South Wales have got to be ready. I don't think there'll be any complacency. They'll want to win the series and wrap it up over there in Perth.
All right, Block, well, would you believe, we're going to wind the clock back 40 years to start off with. One of the collectible cups is from the 1985 series. Now, as it was, the history of Origin, a one-game standalone game 80, a standalone game 81, and then a 3-game series 82, 83, 84. Queensland win all of them 2-1. So you come to 85, and as you've told the story before, the key to victory was set up even before game 1, driving to the ground. Tell us that, Jan.
Yeah, I think New South Wales were suffering with not a real leader, and finally Steve Mortimer comes along. We were going past the Caxton one day, and there was 5,000 Queenslanders in there, and Steve Mortimer said, "Stop the bus," and I went like, "Stop the bus? There's 5,000 of them." Anyway, he stopped the bus and he said, "Look at these people, they hate us." And then we got showered with 5,000 cans.
Yeah.
And then going to the game. you used to have to go through the bar to go through these turnstiles to go into the dressing room.
Yes.
We got showered with another 5,000 cans.
That's the first time I've ever heard you tell that story using the word people.
People.
When you said some of these people.
Well, hey, this is a family show, a family company we're looking after.
Mate.
Yeah. But that is a moment to basically establish it's us versus them. Yeah?
Oh, he was unbelievable, you know, and as I said, I thought we suffered of not having a bloke that was so passionate. And I think back to that series, and Steve Mortimer, when we wrapped up the series in Game 2, mate, he was doing hit-ups next to the ruck.
Yeah.
You know, we were only young fellas and we needed someone to inspire us. Mate, he was just unbelievable.
The first game of 1985, Michael O'Connor did so well. He got 18 points, but Turvey Mortimer. So, and this legend lives on and was brought back, sort of the story of Turvey is brought back to the New South Wales Origin fold by Michael Maguire last year.
Yeah, it was a perfect timing for it too. You know, New South Wales needed to find some. They went back to the cricket ground. I'll never forget it last year, and we had this dinner there. There was about 40 people in the cricket ground in the members' stand. Oh, mate, it was unbelievable, and they showed the highlights of the game, and of course they honoured Steve Mortimer, and you know all the players. Even 40 years later, they bought into the legend of Steve Mortimer.
How good's that vision though? Like with just fans on the field. He's getting cheered off, getting cheered around, and there's just fans on the field, not getting in the way of anything. Players couldn't give two hoots. It's just, you know, that's why I loved Origin.
It was the full lap of honour. Like you ran around. There's no stopping for selfies. You know, there's no handing over your boots, and you didn't hand away your jersey. As you've done in previously, you've handed everything but your underpants.
And Andrew, an unbelievable feeling, especially doing it at the cricket ground.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the cricket ground was so legendary for 100 years to get the play out of the cricket ground and win a series there, the first one ever for New South Wales.
What was the build-up like back then, Blocky? Because you hadn't won a series leading into that one.
No, that's right. That's what I was saying. You know, we were dying to have a bloke who could lead us, and Steve Mortimer, right from the first training session. He was unbelievable, inspirational sort of bloke. Mate, we had a good side too. You know, Brett Kenny, in my way of thinking, is probably the best Origin player of all time. That's not to take anything away from anyone else that played, but mate, you know, they were just, you know, just winners. The Mortimers, and they just knew how to win.
Terry Fernley, New South Wales coach that year. The pack, okay, Benny Elias playing hooker. Your front row partner was Pat Jarvis, as tough as any player ever. Lace on a boot. Noel Cleal in the back row. Yeah,
I think they had a wonderful mix there. Noel Cleal was probably, you know, along with Ciro, the best running back row I ever played with. But then you had blokes like Steve Folkes and Wayne Pearce. The work rate of those guys, mate, they could get around the ground, and you know it was a balanced pack back in those days. But mate, this is a guy that he led the way. Unbelievable. I'll never forget it.
Now we're here to tell the whole story. Steve Roach has been sent to the sin bin in State of Origin. I don't think you were, Hindy.
No.
Woodsy, I don't think you have.
No, he's a clean skin, mate.
Now they're going to come clean. Innocent both. Innocent
both. Both times blocked.
Or you think you had a case to answer.
Well, back in the day, you know, Queensland used to do all sorts of horrible things to us, and I thought, you know, we're going to have to stand up to them at some stage. And I suppose that's what happened.
Leading into the game, Blocky, was there be one front row you just had targeted all week?
Oh no, mate. They had a good pack. There was no doubt about that. I was never really worried about them, but. Yeah, I don't
you loved to headbutt, didn't you, Bob?
Yeah.
Well, mate,
you loved to
headbutt in the big left.
I just like to let you blokes know that the hardest part of your body is your forehead.
Yeah.
And there he is. And we should point out to our younger viewers, say the front rowers wore 11 and 13, or wore 12, so it looks a little odd.
Mate, I loved it.
You weren't playing in the back row there.
That was the way it was, mate. In those days, that was real. I remember playing another Origin. We kicked off, and Ron Willie said, "Who won the toss?" At the cricket ground, said, "We did." He said, "Good fight." So, I mean, that's the way it was.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have lasted.
Yes,
I wouldn't.
you
No, I wouldn't.
You would have, mate.
You would have adapted, Hindy.
Look, I got into one fight and my wrist went like that.
Was that on Mick Ennis?
No, that was my second fight.
All right, that was 40 years ago, Blocker. 40 years. And people still talk about it and show it and speak with such a love about it that, you know, the modern day player needs to know that story. It's everyone's legacy to carry that on.
I think the great thing about it is they can never take it away from you. Yeah. I mean, you know, when they talk about Origin now, since 1980, it's when inception, that, you know, the New South Wales people will talk about that for forever.
Well, that makes me want to have the first collectible cup I want to get. I'm going to go up to the drive-through and say, I want the 1985 one. I want the 85 cup. That's the one I want first of all. Even though they're all good, I'm going to collect all 6. I want the 85 one first.
Well, it can't happen again. That's the thing.
Yeah. Now, we jump ahead some 20 years. By the way, Woodsy, you wouldn't have even been born when...
No, I wasn't born then. I was somewhere else.
You've been here before.
Heidi, you're a whippersnapper.
Would have been just about to turn 6.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so little fella. Yeah,
all right, but 2005, you're not to know at the time, but this is the last time New South Wales win a series for a while. And it was a year that you were chasing 3 straight series wins, but it started in disaster.
Started
the
poorly.
first game.
Yeah, up there in Queensland too. So I think it was 19-0 at half time. We went into the sheds, and we honestly we had a really good side, but it's just these. And there's a couple of dubious calls in this game, I thought anyway. Yeah. You know, the Billy Slater knock on came off his knees, Ty Simmons scores in the first one, but the good thing was 19-0 down, come back. We end up getting in. Awesome ball. We end up getting in front though, and it wasn't for the fact that Thurston kicks a field goal towards the death, takes it into extra time. Unfortunately, everyone knows it. Noddy throws a cutout pass.
Brett Kamali.
Brett Kamali.
Did you text Brett to know that we were going to highlight that?
Well, no, but it's part of the game. It was an extra time Origin game. He throws a cutout pass. Matty Bowen intercepts it, goes down the length, scores.
You never felt safe with that great Queensland side. When they went on that bit of a run, you'd never be comfortable thinking that you're ahead. Say you're ahead, 20 to 14. Well, never comfortable in those games.
When you got players like Lockyer in there, I know this was Jonathan Thurston's. It was one of his earlier games.
One of the worst field goals you'll ever see.
Yeah, it came off one of our own players, but we kind of knew that the way we came back. This is the intercept here. Yeah. And that was but the way we came back from 19-0 down, even though it was a loss, it gave us a lot of confidence going into game 2.
Now, Hindy, you something you want to get. We're about storytelling here on Legendary Series.
Yes.
There's something you want to get off your chest from game 1. You going to call Queensland cheats or?
Well, I'd like to discuss the refereeing situation there, particularly the bunker. But this blatantly comes off Billy Slater's hand there. It's called play on. They go and check it upstairs.
I'll ask you one question, Hindy. Where was this game played?
This was up in Queensland.
Why does it surprise you?
That's come off. It comes off his thumb. Yeah. And they looked at it. I'm sorry, we're all getting ready to play the ball or pack the scrum, and they've awarded a try.
Yeah. What's said in the huddle at that period of time, Hindy, if you remember?
Oh, look, nothing much really.
No, I'll tell you what's said in the huddle.
Well, that'd be a time off with the video.
And it wasn't anything from me.
So all's well that ends well because that's you got over that.
Yes.
New South Wales, the heartbreak of losing at Golden Point, but game 2.
Yeah.
Now, game 2, 2005, the return of Andrew Johns.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, it was all everyone was talking about because it was having Joey back. He'd been injured. I think Trent Barrett himself was injured. He was our half in there in game 1, but the amount of confidence Joey gives aside.
Tell us about the training that you go there and all of a sudden Andrew Johns turns up. I've heard the stories about him all of a sudden just taking whole control.
He does. He was Joey Johns, but he demands excellence as well on the training paddock. So if you weren't in the spot you needed to be in,
he'd hammer you.
And you'd remember, look, I've got to be there the next time. So that's what he did, but he just instilled so much confidence within the side, kicking game, vision, and with him and Ricky Stewart, talking together, we had a good game plan. It was always going to be turning it back inside. We worked out that their markers were quite lazy, coming back across the field, so it was always a game plan to turn it back. And we just chipped away at it.
There it is there, look.
Exactly that.
Great ball.
Yeah, so that was part of the game plan. But, look, outstanding series.
It's one of his absolute finest. Now, a mountain of points, nice touch there right at the end, Hindy. You go off to game 3, now at 1-1 in the series, you're going up there, and boy, oh boy, New South Wales go next level.
Well, because there was a bit of fireworks in game 2. Carl Webb, Luke Bailey, the whole choking thing, all that sort of stuff. So we go back up to Queensland for game 3, and look, again, a little bit confident, I'm going to say. We weren't... Because in game 2, which we didn't touch on, we spent about 15 minutes defending our own line in game 2. We held them out. We ended up being the first people to score points in that second game. So go up to Queensland game 3, and we were full of confidence. Yeah. And it showed in the way we played the game. I thought Matt King was outstanding. Minicello ended up getting player of the series. He was on fire. And, of course, Joey Johns. But...
What about Ben Kennedy? What was he like to play? I love one of my favourites come on.
BK was outstanding, absolutely outstanding.
He's like he's an intense unit.
Yeah, or on the field or off the field.
Or
Yeah, bit of both, to be honest with you. But no, it was an absolutely great series to be a part of. Loved every minute of it, and it was probably to win up there.
Yeah.
That was even more special.
Well,
in front of the home crowd.
You'll lose the first game. You're behind the 8 ball. I mean, statistically, historically, it's you're in the minority if you lose the first game and win the series. But to do it up there, is something special.
Which hadn't been done for I don't even know how long. So we were the first team to do it in a long time to win up there against all odds, and to victory lap at the end of the game was even special. And the crowd, some of the Queensland crowd hung around. So we're giving it to them. Yeah.
Well, two-finger salute.
Two-finger salute, the whole lot.
I remember being a young bloke, mate. I remember going to school the next day being that pumped, mate. Like, you made my week. It was unbelievable being a New South Wales fan. Oh.
Yeah. That's good. Thanks, Woods.
Yeah.
Love it, mate. I love
it's
the
great, it's great to hear that you were still going to school. That's the
Year 10 was the best 4 years of his life.
All righty, well, that was 2005, and what was to happen next? Well, we don't want to talk about.
No.
8 years.
But saying that, though, 8 years and we're still how many games separated?
12 points.
Yeah. 12 points. Yeah. 12 points separate us.
Yeah, incredible stuff. So we've covered 1985, we've covered 2005. Woodsy's going to take us through 2014 in a moment. The collectible cups, thanks to Macca's 6 Series Cups. You get them, you are in with a chance. Scan them, win. A New South Wales signed jersey, win a double pass to game number 3 of this year's series. Fantastic promotion. As we go to a break, one of the great Origin matches was Game 3, the deciding match of last year's series, and this was the moment that the Blues wrapped up the win.
Watson finds Moses, uses his speed, beats 2! Mitchell Moses! The moment of his rugby league career! The speed and the brilliance to beat 3! It's a big lead now for New South Wales.
Woods. New South Wales with a feast of opportunity here. Woods about 5 metres out from the line. Farah, dummies, double pumps. Hodkinson is over. Hodkinson comes around. He puts the ball down. The Canterbury halfback, Trent Hodkinson.
Yes, indeed. Legendary series, the brilliant Blues for Macca's, the brilliant Blues on that night. 2014, Trent Hodkinson scores a try in a 6-4 win. We are covering all of this with the collectible Macca's Origin Cups right there. How good are they? The collectible cups marking 5 series wins and also the 2025 current series. But 2014 certainly marked with those. Before we hear from Aaron Woods, who played a part in that, he was the man who played the ball before the Hodkinson
Great
try.
play the ball.
It was a very good play the ball.
Quick.
Got out of the way. Just play it and then move on.
This is the big story. That ends an 8-year drought. I think we're obliged to ask you two, as former New South Wales greats, sitting through 8 years of pain, how was that?
I felt bad because I was thinking, this isn't ever going to end. How's it going to end? We need a Messiah. We need someone to come through like Joey did for you guys. Yeah. It just didn't happen, and all of a sudden these guys won. It was great.
Yeah, it sucked. It really.
I was filthy.
I was part of the start of that. I was still thereabouts, so I played in a few of those games. Got dropped a lot as well, but you look at their side, the Queensland side, and it was like, who's going to beat this team? You know, when the likes of Cooper Cronk, Billy Slater, Cameron Smith, Inglis, like they're all superstars
at the peak of their powers too.
Well, you talked about a Messiah.
Here he is.
Aaron Woods.
It wasn't me.
Played a part.
We had a bloke called Jared Hayne who had one of the series that I've been unbelievable. If it wasn't for him, I don't think we'd go close to winning that. But the games were just crazy. You mentioned it, Hindy. Yeah. You got Inglis, you got Thurston, you got Smith, you got Cronk, you got Slater. Yeah. They always talk about like that pick and stick, but they didn't need to get rid of anybody because those blokes were picked every week.
Well, you fellas have spoken about winning at Lang Park. I mean, that's the challenge. You're coming off 8 series losses and you start at the home of Queensland Rugby League.
Well, that was it. No one really gave us a chance. And we knew, like, we sort of had, not being disrespectful, we had halves of Hodkinson and Josh Reynolds. We just had blokes that would go after it. They just got in that dogfight. And we knew we didn't have too many points in us. So we wanted to go up there with a defensive mindset. And we went up there. We got a couple of points early on. Come up with some big plays there defensively from the Morris brothers. But it was just more of a team effort. We didn't have, like, one bloke. Well, sorry, Jared Hayne did break the game up. But it was just everyone doing their job, and that's what we spoke about in camp. Like, there's not as many big names in our squad, but if all our blokes play the best we can really test this Queensland side.
Yeah, we'll talk more about the Morris boys in a moment. One statistic out of the series, just to showing how hard fought it was. I mean, New South Wales won the series scoring just 26 points. If ever there was an example of just win whatever way you can. You know, it doesn't really matter, does it? An Origin match, win by 1, win 1-0 if you have to.
You got it. You just got to take the wins, and it doesn't go up by aggregate, Vossy. You just got to win the 2-1 series, and that's it. We were lucky enough. Mate, this game up here at Suncorp, this game 1, it was the hardest game I've ever played in my career. Yep. The intensity, I think the second half, I don't think we got over the 40-metre line once. It just felt like it was a barrage of Queensland just attacking our try line, and we just had blokes showing up. This is the last, play of the game. And we just spoke about in camp all week, they've got so many great players. They're going to try overload, send a lot of numbers, just keep showing up. And look at all the boys just swarming with numbers.
Is that Luke Lewis in the centres?
Lukey Lewis, and that's what we had. We had blokes that would put their hand up and play anywhere, and that's what Lukey Lewis, he was a good back rower, but sometimes he played in the wing, sometimes he played in the centres for us.
History of State of Origin, full of courageous performances. But the Morris brothers, the Morris twins in this particular game.
Well, I think Beamos, we just saw the video footage of the try. I think he fractured his shoulder. He doesn't play again for the rest of that year. And then J-Moz, he was injured. He was standing with our physio, Liz Steet, off the field, and then realises that Greg Inglis is making sort of a break, and he comes out of nowhere and just covers it. This is the moment where Beamos, he scores a try, gets the ball back from Jay there, and as he slams it down, he just cracks his shoulder. Have a look at him. Look at the pain he's in. But he gets up, mate, he comes up with the match-winning saving try. Yeah, but stopping Darius Boyd.
The other thing about that tackle on Inglis, the way that he threw himself at him, he was injured, didn't care.
Didn't care about his body.
Just no regard for his own body.
Did not care. Look, this is Beamos right here. So you just seen that footage of his shoulder. He's busted, and he looked head on. That one saves us the game.
He's trying to avoid the broken shoulder in the tackle and still makes the tackle.
And the thing is,
good impact.
That's his last game of the year, so he doesn't get to play for the rest of the season for the Dragons that year. But he puts his body in line for his state and just shows you how much it meant for him.
OK, now let's highlight what you said about Josh Morris. I mean, that's extraordinary. That moment in itself, you show that to anyone about the gladiatorial nature of this concept, this series. That's it. That's the quintessential example. And Exhibit B is his twin brother.
Oh, it's the best.
Josh.
Like as I said, he was on the sideline. Like he does his knee here. He's down. He knows he's done something bad because he felt the click and he goes straight for our physio, Liz Steet. She'd been around. I think she was around when you were there as well. Lizzie. So
titanium knuckles.
Yeah. So she just he's gone. Like so, we've got a player out of play. There's Lizzie there, just looking. She's doing the little knee, the little click, see if what he's done, if it's ACL, medial, or whatever it is.
Look at this.
And then he watches it. Inglis gets the ball, and he just comes out of nowhere. He doesn't even care what his knee's like, and he just jumps into him. I know he's probably. They think he's come from an offside position, but look, he's making the change.
That's
and then just,
and we know that's outrageous.
We know how good of a ball carrier Greg Inglis is. He's one of the best carriers of the ball individually, and he makes that tackle for us.
How good to highlight that. We say brilliant Blues, but it should just say, brilliantly
Morris.
tough Blues.
Yeah, mate.
That's a fantastic.
Two great players to play with.
But you were 2-0 up. You went 2-0 up.
2-0 up in that series.
How good would that have been? It's a good feeling because that's all I ever wanted.
It was a good feeling
to be 2-0 up going into the third.
It was good until you had to play the game, the third game.
Because you enjoyed yourself game.
Let's just say we went to camp in Coffs Harbour.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of
3 days at the big banana, wasn't it?
Urban and Cokes. 30 bucks.
I think it's about to. All right, let's focus on the game. Heidi, back to me.
Yes.
Let's bring it back to the
It's just one of those things I've always wanted to know.
Camp was so much fun.
You missed out on
always used to go into camp going,
you can still go there. It's still there.
Let's just be 2-0 up.
Yeah. It's one try. It's one try wins the series. Trent Hodkinson, not really known as a running halfback, he scores the try, but how tense. This is it. This is New South Wales ending an 8-year drought.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was so tense, Vossy. Like they were up 4-0 for a long period of time, and we felt like we had the upper hand of the arm wrestle, but it wasn't on the scoreboard reflecting that. And I think the longer the game went on, the more nervous we got because we hadn't been in a situation where we could have won the series and locked it up at game 2, and just that's done. But you watch these highlights here, big semi-fighter. He missed the game 1, he come back for the second one, he gets the opening try. But other than that, not too much happened in this game. Or did he get the try? Knock on. Yeah. But we go into 4-0, Hodkinson gets that try, and it's sort of like, wow, we actually can do it, and we got a lot of belief from that. And I think the whole state got behind us.
What about the belief he would have got from scoring that try?
Well, that's
unbelievable, wasn't it?
It was normally a stand and deliver half block and just give early ball to his back rowers in Hoffy or Bowie Scott. And I think that's what fooled Cherry Evans. He wasn't expecting.
He saw him over chase.
That's it. And it just goes bang and score. It still wasn't an easy conversion. I remember I've never been more nervous to watch a goal kick in my life. But when that went over, I was so excited.
When you have a man like Ryan Hoffman who can hit a hole on your outside,
Yes.
keeping Cherry Evans out, that's, makes a
Hoffy runs that
difference.
tough line where you
Yeah.
can't not bite on him.
That was nice vision. You got the post-try celebration right that year.
I landed that
you landed the pylon. A couple of years later, you went right over the top. And of course, the last moment. I mean, this is a state celebrates.
Oh, mate.
This is. It was just extraordinary. Like the reaction of people. You suddenly. Everyone, they may have had the next day off. If Bob Hawke was still Prime Minister, the Premier
Honestly,
said have the day off.
Honestly, Vossy,
have the next day off.
This moment where Jared Allen runs in the crowd, I think,
That's mad.
to celebrate with his fans. A lot of people say, what an individual not celebrating with his team. But the fans are the ones that have rode that, they've been on the ride with us, we're getting goosebumps talking about it,
I've got goosebumps now. I've got the shivers coming through the legs,
Blatchy's Blues. It was certainly worthy of
so good.
recognition. We were talking about Brilliant Blues, how that caught on, and that was, that was part of the celebration. But that night, this is 8 years of pain coming out.
I'll tell you what, I was so
celebration.
glad. We had the bye afterwards at the Tigers, and I remember Robbie Farah, he drank for 7 nights straight. I think it was Mick Potter had to send an SOS to find out where he actually was. We didn't know where to find him, but so happy for Loz. Like, he copped a lot of flack, when he got the job. He lost his first series, but his second one in charge. It was just so good. It was just like a big weight off our shoulders that we could actually beat this Queensland side.
Look, it's been great to sit here on the couch and celebrate these moments with you. I can only speak as a fan and say, Origin has been one of the greatest things of my rugby league fan life. But for you guys, you watch it back now, and like you're saying, you felt,
I just went when that full time.
How proud does it make you to feel that you pulled on the blue jumper in your career block?
Oh, it excites you, doesn't it? Especially watching that, and you know what you do for playing in your own career, but watching the guys, win big games like that. It's just the only time I ever miss footy is in the big games, big Origin games like that. Yeah. You get to watch it now and celebrate with the guys who can actually do it now.
Oh, well, it's just, you would have heard it all before, but that just as a kid growing up, it was the only time our house the whole family, sisters, mum would watch rugby league was Origin time, right. And that was, and it comes from the generation before you. That's what
it's
gets
built.
you. It's you're born into it.
All right, boys. We get to have a beer with all the old boys. Like you get to be surrounded. I get to be surrounded by 05. Block is 85. It's just crazy. I can't believe it.
And it's the only jersey where you have your name on your back.
Yes.
You carry your family name out there.
So
Brilliant Blues, fantastic. The collectible cups. I think that's got everyone inspired to head straight to Macca's now.
I'm going
Big bag. Yes. We'll go the 10 chicken McNuggets. We'll get the fries.
I'm going the Big Mac.
Okay.
I'm going the Big
We'll
Mac.
just go on the
So we'll get
40
the 6
nuggets.
collectibles all in one hit. 6 collectible cups. Remember, scan them. You could win a signed New South Wales jersey. You can win a double pass to game number 3 of the series in Sydney. Aaron Woods, Nathan Hindmarsh, Steve Roach. I am not worthy. It's been wonderful to chat.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks for having us.
Folks, they're all Brilliant Blues. Stick around. We've got plenty more coming up in the countdown to what is a wonderful, wonderful series.